Today we're going to look at a study making use of chords with the E and B strings open. Now first of all, B string, E string. Okay, so we're going to use those strings the whole way through the study, and we're going to take some basic chord shapes like E and see how we can play them differently. Now E over here obviously uses those two strings anywhere. So if we took a really straightforward chord progression, so for example E to C sharp minor, maybe A, then B, sounds pretty cool and quite standard, but it probably sounds very overused. Okay, now we're going to change it. This is the same chords, and listen to this. Would you believe those are the same chords? Okay, now let's see how we can do that, why we can do that, and also understand what's actually being done. Okay, now first of all, let's look at the chord shapes. I'm going to move my guitar to the other leg so you can see it better. This is my new E shape. Now I'm putting my middle finger down as well, even though it's not necessary, because we're going to change later to a E major 7 by just lifting the pinky, but enough of that. If you look at point 1, it says E5 replaces E. Now this is actually E5, even though you're playing all 6 strings. Because this is an E string, that's an E note, that's a B note, there's another E note, there's another B, and another E. So even though I'm playing 6 strings, there's only 2 different notes. And that gives me an E5, which is replacing the E chord. Okay. If I wanted to, and I lifted up my pinky, this note over here is the major 7th note of the E major scale. In other words, if I go, keep that note in pitch, and I play my do re mi, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, it's the 7th note of the major scale. So when I lose him and I do this, I get my major 7th chord. Okay, so that's just an extra you can drop in if you want to. Little fun tip. Now the next chord, it says C sharp minor 7 replaces C sharp. What we've done is the shape moves down to fret number 4. This is fret 4, that's fret number 6. You lose the middle finger and you strum from the 5th string down. Now you'd lose the E string because that E string would sort of dominate and sort of create an inversion, so I wouldn't keep the E string open for this. I'll just do from the 5th string down. C sharp minor 7. Now the reason why this is minor 7 is because it's got a B note, and that's a flattened 7th note from the C sharp minor scale, but study for another day. Bottom line is, it works. Okay, next chord, the A add 9, looks like this. And what's important over here is that my first finger, you can see there now, if I get a pen, you can see that over here there's a gap. My pen can actually go inside that gap. So I'm not barring it, it's on the tippy, on the tip over here, and the other strings are open, otherwise I'm not going to get those 2 open strings. Nice dreamy chord. A add 9, and the reason why it's add 9 is because the extra note, that B, is the 9th note. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. There it is. Okay, and then lastly, B add 11. Also a very, very nice dreamy chord. Now what I want to learn over here is a few things. First of all, if you're playing in a church or a praise and worship band, these type of chords tend to get used a lot. They're very prominent, especially in the new sort of sound, the Hillsong vibe. They use open chords a lot. It gives a beautiful sort of dreaminess, relaxed sort of sound to it. It's a constant that runs throughout the whole piece. So even though your chords are changing, you've got a constant. And then we play the chords in reverse. reversed. Also sounds quite nice. Okay, but that's one of the trait or sort of very popularly used effects or applications or concepts, if you want to call it that, rather used for praise and worship as well. Also nice for ballads. Okay, the major seventh sound, I got that idea from, there's a song called Unsaid Emily by Charlie Gillespie. That's where we stole that idea from. So very important thing, when you hear something from another artist and you think that sounds cool, find out what he's done and see if you can't apply it into your own playing. Quite often you can. Now, if you go to point number 2, okay, we're going to look at some different things over here. Now we're going to have a whole different sound. We're going to have almost like a sort of a Spanish sort of vibe. Check this out. We're going to take E to F. You can see it's got a very, very unusual sound. So if you took it and focused out a bit there, it has something like this. Check this out. Very different sound there. And the chords are E, F, G, F in one bar, back to E. Now let's take the same sort of combination or the same concept and keep the open strings, and let's see what it sounds like. A bit of finger picking. It's a nice brooding sound there. If you're a pick player, pick's fine as well. Sounds like this. And then for those that know their modes, maybe a Phrygian. But we'll get into that later. Harmonic minor will also give you those chords as well. But we'll study those scales later. What we want to do today, we're playing with chords. So what we're trying to learn over here is that quite often we don't have to play the chords as they're written down. Try and experiment with open strings. Your E, F, G has now become this. This chord, F major 7 with a sharp in 11th, is nothing more than simply just this over here. And now we can see the chord, E, open string again. You can see once more the gap over here for the open strings, G6, and back. So the important lesson over here that I hope you're picking up is that we're not just restricted to the chords that we used in the first study. You can take it to different chords, and we'll later see what chords we can and what chords we can't. And just quickly before we do number 3, we're going to see other changes. Now, with the first one we did now, that Spanish little vibe, we're now going to take it to the octave, E, F, G, and you're going to get this. And this time we forfeited the B note, but you've kept the open E. So this time your F major 7, as in your diagrams, G6 stays the same, just because of the nature of the chord. Back to F major 7 and bottom of the E. So there's lots of different things you can do. So you can start off with a nice deep sound. Go to your octave. So experiment. This is what music's all about. Now for the last one over here, for point 3, Nickelback in their song Photograph makes use of these open chords a lot. So I'm going to go back to the other leg again so you can see the movement. And he introduces more chords. He's going to go E. Oh sorry, here's the rhythm. They are E to B8 11, fret 7, D6 9 from fret 10, A 9, fret 5. So this concept of using the 2 strings can be used a lot. Now you can't just play it anywhere. That didn't sound so cool, did it? That had a certain level of dissonance to it. So certain places won't work, and your clue over here to decide, other than using your ear, is ask yourself, the chord that I'm using, is it in the key of E or A or G? And the reason I'm saying those keys is because those keys have the notes B and E in them. The key of F has got a B flat, so this B note there is going to clash like crazy. If I put a B flat type chord into it, you can see there's a normal B flat. So if I converted a B flat, it gives a very dissonant unless it's what you're going for. Which could work if you're Marilyn Manson, I guess. Okay. But generally speaking, whatever chord you want to apply the concept to, the concept being including the open strings, make sure that those open strings form part of the key you're playing in. So the key of F wouldn't really work because it hasn't got the notes B in. If I played in the key of B flat, it would have B flat and A flat. Those two would definitely clash because B and E aren't in the key. But in the key of G, they're there. Key of A, they're inside there. Key of C. Another nice way for C major 7 or from fret 8. So they're very transposable. Okay, and that's what's important here. So what we're learning is that you can use open strings. We're learning that we can move chords. We're learning that we don't have to necessarily keep the chords in their standard E, C sharp minor, A, and B format. We can play around with them. That's very, very important lesson over here. And we learned a bit of theory knowing when we can't do it either. Okay. Also, just for by the way, you've got an harmonic here and an harmonic there. Now, one of the songs by Ozzy, a song called You Can't Kill Rock and Roll, he plays a B, and come a little bit closer here. And I'm going to try and get this right. You hear that harmonic there? And what actually it does over there, he brings, I'm going to just turn the page around a bit. And you can see my hand going to get those two notes there. And it's barely touching the string. You can see it's very light. Okay, so I'm playing the B chord. And I'm putting the harmonic into it. When I go to A at 9. And I'm bringing inside there as well. Now, that's what the harmonics do. You can also add them inside there. If you're playing E, also nice little things to play with. Just on the harmonic, because I've had a few students not know how to do the harmonic, so I'm going to put my guitar flat on the desk here. I'm going to try and balance it on my knee. What the trick over here is to make sure that you're barely touching the string. So I'm not pushing down. I'm not doing this. I'm touching lightly. And as I play the note, I lift it up. Similarly, if I play them lower down, by fret number 7 and fret number 5. But it must be directly above the fret or it won't work. Okay, I hope you enjoy that. And yeah, we'll see you back for some more studies later. Take care. Thank you.